Dem bones, dem bones, dem dry bones. Hi, I'm Bill Wasch, and here's my friend. Today we're going to learn about the Surgeon General's report on the bone break epidemic. We'll cook up some bone-healthy recipes with Chef Michel Nischan, and we'll find out about World War II blimps at the New England Air Museum. All today on In Our Prime. Hey, it looks like you've lost a little weight. $10 million Americans over the age of 50 have osteoporosis. Another 34 million are at risk. The Surgeon General warns that unless baby boomers start paying attention to their bones, by 2020, half of all Americans over the age of 50 will have osteoporosis or low bone density.
Osteoporosis is defined as a loss of bone mass and strength that causes fragility of the skeleton and therefore leads to fractures. The consequence of osteoporosis is what we call a fragility fracture. The most common of these are fractures of the spine, vertebral crush fractures, which can occur without any trauma at all, simply loss of enough bone strength so that you can't bear your own body's weight and your vertebral bodies collapse. The normal vertebrae has a very nice architecture, very nicely put together, connected plates and rods that give you strength. As you get older, you begin to lose those rods and plates, and the whole thing collapses. The result of that is what we call the dowager's hump, the bent spine of the older woman. Older men get it too. There are many risk factors. The most important one is genetics. And of course, if you have a positive family history, that's something you need to know about.
I've known I've had low bone density and thin bones for some time, and I've always worried about falling because I was afraid that I would break a bone or have a fracture. I've also thought about it a lot because my mother had osteoporosis, and she had many fractures, and she died from the complications of a hip fracture.
Hip fracture is the most devastating of the osteoporotic fractures. It's associated with a 20% mortality due to complications. About a third of the patients end up with poor function or in nursing homes. The best way to find out if you have osteoporosis or not is to get a bone density test. And the recommendation now of the National Osteoporosis Foundation is that women over 65 should get a bone density test to determine whether they have a high fracture risk and whether they should get treatment.
You need to get enough calcium and vitamin D in your diet when you're young and continue to get it as you age. Establishing a regular exercise program that includes weight-bearing exercises can also help protect your bones.
So this combined effort, building your bones through childhood and young adult life, as an adult preserving your bones, as an older person minimizing bone loss and minimizing the risk of falls, is a lifelong effort to prevent osteoporotic fractures. And so our slogan is, you're never too young and you're never too old to think about your bone health.
Sue McMasters, Ms. Senior Connecticut, leads an exercise class that helps older people increase their strength and balance. Her father was her inspiration.
And 10. Woo! I was a caregiver for 8 years for my father. He was in a nursing home for a while and then had therapy at home. And when the therapy ended because of Medicare, there was nothing available that was what he needed, which was to be social with people his own age and get strength training and balance, which were his weakest things at the time.
Out!
Sue is certified to teach workshops in strength training, balance, and fall prevention by the Powerful Aging Program. This exercise program for older people was developed by the University of Connecticut and Yale University Health Centers.
The first thing that happens is as you age, the muscles atrophy, which means they shrink. And for women especially, the first one is right across here, which brings the shoulders in. Then to keep your balance, you tip down. And as you tip, you have to put more of your foot on the floor, and that's how we get to a shuffle. So we work it back, and we do exercises that help to strengthen the back to hold the upper body up off the lower body.
Her students enjoy socializing and benefit from the workout.
When I retired from nursing, I had a major arthritic attack, and they found I had arthritis in the lower back. He gave me exercises to do, and I didn't feel like doing them by myself, so I brought the sheet down here, and I found that's what we're doing to strengthen my back. And knock on wood, I haven't had an attack again.
I wanted to be physically fit, keep on being physically fit, because I'm married to a 90-year-old man who can do anything.
People in the class range in age from 55 to 95.
My main reason for joining a class like this is that I want to try to maintain balance and agility. As we get older, people are more apt to lose balance, fall, and I'm very concerned about maintaining that and my strength and my health.
For fall prevention, we do exercises where we reach out with our foot and we land on it, bringing our weight away from where it was, and then push off with the front of the foot back over so that our weight is then shifted back. So if a person were toppling, they would already have skills in place which would help to catch them and get them back where they had been.
I think I need better balance. I've noticed that, for instance, when I come down the stairs, I feel uncoordinated. And I've noticed that these strength exercises that we do gives me better balance, makes me more confident of walking and climbing stairs, coming down stairs, things like that.
If you're not active, your declining rate is going to be very fast. But if you remain active and you improve your skills, there are a lot of things that you can continue to do, and all those things will help you stay fit.
Good job. No one wants to take falls. Bathrooms are dangerous places, especially if there's water on the floor. How do we avoid this? Install a non-slip floor. If and when you remodel your bathroom, always install plywood backing on the wall so that you can put the grab bars in without any difficulty. Then think about installing a seat which can be moved and a handheld shower. If you come into a room like this in a walker or a wheelchair, it's so nice to sit down in the seat and then use the handheld shower. Older people still like to take baths. We have a therapeutic whirlpool, and that is a way to end your day in a wonderful way. In case of an emergency, make sure you have an emergency pull in your bathroom. I hope these tips will make your life more secure and keep you in your home longer. But there may come a time when you need more support services. This is a big decision, so let's see what advice we can get. A person can collect an amazing number of treasures in a lifetime. But when it's time to move, all those treasures can become overwhelming burdens. That's when Karen Martin's services are helpful.
I assist people in anything that will help them with their move, whether it be packing them, doing refuse removal into 30-yard dumpsters, arrange for donations, as well as clean up, broom sweep, and empty out a home, and home setup, where we actually unpack and set them up in their new place. It is difficult for people to let go of their items. Usually they are moving to smaller spaces, and a lot of decisions have to be made. When the time period between making the decision to move and actually putting their house on the market and moving, that time frame, if it's short, and I mean 60 days or 90 days, it's not enough to process the emotions that are triggered by the memories of holding objects that haven't been seen in sometimes 20, 30, 40 years. And to do that with family members or good friends is very important. It's part of the process of really looking back to move forward and feel positive, because it is a life review. I would suggest that you start today, now, by taking stock of what you have, and you start to think about what is it that you haven't used in a long time. I've heard stories that families have gotten dumpsters and they have just gone into a house because they're rushed. Maybe mom had to go to assisted living, or their dad. And I think that unless you're versed in antiques, collectibles, some history is being thrown out.
There are professional organizations that can recommend organizers, such as Karen, or appraisers who can help you with your move. Making the decision to leave your home and move into an assisted living facility can be difficult.
Well, the factors really never came into my mind until I took a great fall, which I was in my 50s, almost into my 60s, just happened.
When medical circumstances force people to leave their homes, the change can sometimes cause depression, no matter how nice the facility is.
When I first came, it was depression. Really, I just thought, well, no, I don't know, it's too big, it's not like home.
With counseling from her doctor, Esther made the transition. She is making new friends and plays for church services.
The transition can be difficult. Someone who's lived in their own home for 30, 40, 50 years. Although my experience is that when the person does transition in to a more secure environment, that the companionship that they have, the sense of security that they have, eventually they begin to feel much better about their circumstance. And it's not everyone that has a difficult transition. Some people are very grateful and appreciative right from the very beginning.
When Ruth's husband died, she was left alone. She continued to live in their house for 26 years. But as she grew older, it became more frightening.
And I was alone in that house, and then I knew somebody had gotten raped. And every little noise I heard became a nervous wreck.
But for many people, affording a good assisted living facility can be difficult.
A lot of these alternative living arrangements are expensive. There's probably not good, their health insurance is probably not going to cover any of the cost. State programs don't usually cover the cost unless somebody's moving into a skilled nursing facility.
You say, oh, I'm still only 50 or something. I'm never going to, I don't want to be in an old lady's home. Well, that's not the point. You're going to reach. My mother's finances were all gone, $17,000 a month for her. So hers were all gone, and there wasn't much left for me. It's going to come in some way. So think about it.
No one can predict the future, but having a plan for long-term care as you get older will make you feel more secure and give you better options. Bone density issues have become a major problem, and today we're going to learn from Chef Michel how we can solve some of these problems.
And we're going to solve them in a delicious way, Bill.
I like that.
And me too. And while we're going to start with breakfast, what I'd like to do is talk about what we do at snack time. Because often we don't think that what we do with our snacks can really help our bone density.
No.
And because we're talking about bone density, what we want to do is have a snack that's going to bring us a good dose of calcium. Now, a lot of folks turn to hot chocolate, but I tend to stay away because there's an awful lot of refined sugar in most of the hot chocolate products that are easy to make. So what I like to do is take a little bit of lactose-free milk, some local honey, and again, we love the local honey because when the bees pollinate the local plants, it helps build our immunity against local airborne allergies, and then some vanilla and cinnamon. And what I did is I just put it in a heat-treated measuring cup in the microwave for about 1 minute and 30 seconds, and then we have hot vanilla. And you can see the vanilla seeds.
Oh, look at that.
rather than just hot chocolate. You see these wonderful vanilla seeds, and there goes the vanilla bean. And this is a vanilla bean.
Oh, look.
Here, smell that.
Oh, it's got a wonderful
that,
smell.
Isn't that
yes.
just amazing? And I think the smell is rich, it's romantic, it's wonderful, and it's gorgeous. It's a nice sheen, and then
look at that.
when you have a friend over, or if you're with your loved one, you can garnish it with the vanilla bean and then just put like a little cinnamon stick like that and have it waiting on the table. But what I'd like to do is just have you tell us.
I would like to try
how tasty that is.
Do I drop that in there
just drop
first?
it right in there and give it a sip.
Wonderful.
Is that wonderful?
Oh, it's fantastic.
It's amazing. Isn't that
Oh,
delicious?
I'd like to drink it all.
So there's your afternoon dose of calcium. And then we're going to move to an item that's long been known to be a great source of calcium, and that's cod. And everybody loves cod. It's a great white meat fish. It's flaky. It's wonderful. Doesn't taste fishy.
No.
And it roasts very easily. What we did, Bill, is we just seared it in a pan and put it in the oven and cooked it until it was done. And we're serving it with a vitamin D and vitamin A powerhouse, sweet potatoes. What I like to do is just take a little bit of extra virgin olive oil so that you get that.
Just drizzle it on there.
Good quality fat, monounsaturated fats. In 4 issues of bone density and other nutrition, a lot of the vitamins like vitamin D are fat soluble. They need fat for the delivery system. So you can take all the vitamins you want.
Right.
If you don't have them with a source of fat, they're not going to assimilate as well. So here we have vitamin D and vitamin A in these sweet potatoes, a little bit of extra virgin olive oil, and a beautiful piece of calcium.
You're going to make a cook out of me yet.
I'm working on it. Now, back to the most important meal of the day. Eggs are an amazing source of protein. A few years back, the AMA reversed their decision that eggs are bad for you. So eggs are back on the good food list. So what I like to do, Bill, is just take about maybe 5 eggs. So it's about 2.5 eggs if you're really hungry. But the way I look at it is that this is a frittata that would serve 3. You, your loved one, and then the 2 of you a snack for lunch. And then a little bit of salt and pepper. And then we're going to move over to talk about these other wonderful ingredients. Here we have collard greens.
Collard, yeah.
Collard greens are a vegetable source of calcium as well. So collard greens are great, and they're also packed with really important antioxidants. So great for heart health, great to help prevent cancer. And then we have some wonderful peppers that are going to give some color and flavor. And then we have aged cheddar. And the great thing about cheese is that it's a good source of immediate calcium.
Right.
It assimilates easily. When you eat cheese, you get a lot of that calcium.
Yeah,
so it's awesome. So here we're going to just go into the pan. We have a hot pan here. I'll turn up the fire just a little bit. And we're going to add some oil. And then we're going to add our peppers. And just saute them a little bit. And you can hear that kind of like snap, crackle, pop, right?
Yeah.
The snap, crackle, pop means that you have saute.
Yeah.
What we do with the frittata, unlike scrambled eggs or an omelet, we cook it in the pan a little bit, and then we finish it by baking it in the oven.
Oh, that gives it another...
Yeah, that way we don't have to fiddle with rolling it and doing all that jazz. So just when you can smell the peppers, and can you smell those?
I can smell them.
Pretty nice, huh? We're going to put our collard greens.
You're going to really make a cook out of me.
I'm working on it. And here we're just going to saute them a little bit until they sweat. You can see that we have these red, orange, yellow. I like to use peppers of a variety of colors. And once the collard greens begin to wilt their second time, that's when I add the eggs, Bill. So we just add the eggs to the pan. And what we're going to do is just kind of stir until it almost looks like it turns into scrambled eggs. And it doesn't take that long because, again, the pan is hot and you can see that it's starting to look like scrambled eggs. So I just shake it a couple of times until it's barely set. And then I sprinkle it with this great calcium-rich aged cheddar cheese.
Fantastic.
And then we're just, if you'll pardon me for a moment, I'm going to head to the oven. And what I'm going to do is bake this frittata for about 6 to 8 minutes. And this is what it looks like when it's done. Voila.
Oh.
There, what do you think about that?
I got to try it. I mean, this looks so good.
Isn't that great? Oh. And what I love about this dish, Bill, is you can serve it right from the pan. You just take it to the table, put down a trivet, have 2 plates ready, and then just serve the frittata right onto the plates from the table. Isn't that delicious?
Fantastic.
Thank you very much. That was
My
wonderful.
pleasure, Bill. Thank you.
It's good to have good health and good food.
Yes, the two can go hand in hand.
They certainly do. And next, we're going to talk about volunteer programs and activities.
Oh, great. Can I help?
You can always
All right,
help.
excellent.
Okay. If you love airplanes and aviation history, there are planes of every vintage at the New England Air Museum at Bradley Airfield in Windsor Locks, Connecticut.
We have the earliest aircraft in the country, and we have aircraft going right up to the modern era. But also we have some new exhibits that really, I think, were quite innovative and really engage the people who come to visit of all ages. I have close to 200 very active volunteers.
And these are all senior volunteers?
Mostly retired people, mostly senior people. And they do anything from exhibit building, carpentry work, tour guiding, teaching, aircraft restoration, fundraising, public relations, you name it, they do it.
The aviation cadet program cranked out, must have been close to 500,000 pilots during the World War II. By the end of a year, we had flown these P-47s and were ready to go into combat.
Dick Kite is a volunteer at the museum. His tactical outfit supported ground troops during World War II. And this one has an amazing history, I understand. It's called Norma. Yeah. It was named after the, the girlfriend of the pilot originally.
Right. He was based in Italy.
He was based in...
And he met the nurse, and her name was Norma. He put her name on the side of the airplane, and they got married. Right near the end of the war.
The Connecticut Air Guard at Bradley Field finished restoring the P-47 a few years ago. Lieutenant Bradley Mule and his wife, Lieutenant Norma Huller, came from their home in Los Angeles for the celebration and to take a look at the P-47 that called up such great memories for them.
Yeah, we stood and let people climb in and out of the cockpit and explain the controls to them, mostly youngsters, of course.
You must be pretty agile to get into that cockpit. I mean, that's not a...
I was.
It took a little bit of doing, but it was great fun to sit in the cockpit of a P-47 and have Dick show me the controls. That wasn't my only adventure at the New England Air Museum.
The first full year of World War II, our ships were being sunk off the east coast of the United States by enemy German submarine. So the Navy thought it'd be a good idea to protect the ships with blimps. So they built 134 of these Goodyear blimps. And they patrolled all the way from South America up to Newfoundland, and also on the West Coast. Well, in 1993, the museum director, Mike Speciale, suggested that someone restore the gondola from the blimp. We just basically had an empty shell.
Didn't look as nice as this one.
No way. It had all broken windows. It had a balsa wood flooring that was all completely deteriorated. So we replaced the windows, we replaced the floor. We removed about 8 coats of navy gray
It wasn't
paint.
as shiny as it is now.
It wasn't shiny at all.
There were no blueprints for the restoration of the gondola. Russ, a retired engineer, and his team studied old maintenance manuals and photographs to recreate the parts of the gondola.
From the photographs, I could scale the part that I'm trying to recreate, and I work up to, from the photographs, I work up to engineering drawings. It's very rewarding. Go home at the end of the day and you feel like you've done something. And we want to invite everybody to come to the museum to view all our projects and our aircraft.
That's all for today, and I hope you've learned something, and I hope you have a long and healthy life. Let's end with some thoughts from Ellen Rita Evans.
I'm still here. I had the shingles and I had a stroke, and neither of them was much of a joke. With one, there was pain, not easy to bear. With the other, impairment I wished wasn't there. Then I fell down those stairs and my head hit cement, and a blood clot, a beauty, is what that hit meant. My back had 2 fractures and a lack and a lass. A stained glass window appeared on my ass. But there's one thing I'd like to make clear. I've been bruised, I've been battered, but I'm still here.
This program was made possible by
AARP Foundation, helping people find jobs, fill out their tax forms, making our communities better, helping to enhance our quality of life as we age. AARP, the power to make it better.
Major support for In Our Prime, also provided by Massonicare, with additional funding from Qualidime and Sunrise Senior Living.
We are PBS.